So let me get this straight. We've got a former reality TV star trying to buy a fucking continent like it's a Monopoly board, Russia over there playing Who's Your Daddy with Denmark's leftovers, and NATO's response is basically, let's form a committee and discuss this over decaf. What the actual fuck is happening? Are we living in a shit spiracy where geopolitics is just a bad joke waiting for a punchline? Or is this the part where we admit the world's been normie fucked into submission?
Oh, it's worse than that, Xavi. It's not just a joke. It's a coffin candy distraction while the real predators circle. Trump wants Greenland like it's a trophy wife. Russia's poking the bear just to watch NATO squirm. And meanwhile, the rest of us are sitting here like Zoom zombies, scrolling through the collapse like it's entertainment. You ever notice how the people who scream stability, the loudest, are the ones who've never had to fight for it?
Exactly, and let's talk about NATO, because nothing says collective security like a bunch of certifucked bureaucrats arguing over who gets to hold the paperweight while Putin and Xi play chess with actual pieces. You think Denmark's laughing? No, they're just too polite to scream, "What the fuck is wrong with you people?" out loud. But here's the thing, when the system's this broken, the only ones left with a pulse are the sinners, the ones who don't give a shit about the anal manual rules.
And that's why we're dragging in Serafina the fucking fire, Ashtorn, because if there's one person who knows how to turn pussy politics into a goddamn inferno, it's her. She doesn't do #Halo diplomacy, she does wrath. So, Serafina, love, you're a nurse. You've seen what happens when the body actually breaks. What's your diagnosis for a world where the leaders are playing who can piss the highest, while the rest of us are left holding the fuck you sauce?
Oh, you want a diagnosis? Here it is. Terminal stupidity with a side of cowardice. You've got a planet full of grammar bitches arguing over commas while the house is on fire, and NATO's over there trying to put it out with a teaspoon. Greenland isn't just ice and polar bears. It's a fucking test. And right now, we're failing. You don't heal a wound by pretending it's not bleeding. You cauterize it. You turn up the heat until the infection screams. So yeah, I'm here to say, if the system's too echo chambermaid to handle the truth, then burn it down and salt the earth. At least then we'll know where we stand.
Now that's what I call a hot take. Serafina, you're like if a flamethrower had a PhD in how to make normies uncomfortable. But let's dig into this, because if Greenland's the canary in the coal mine, then NATO's the guy standing there going, wonder why it stopped singing, while the walls cave in. Lina, you've got that look like you're about to drop a truth bomb. What's rattling around in that macabre brain of yours?
I'm thinking about the unfuckwithable factor, or the lack of it. You've got countries that used to be titans, now acting like insta-ghosts. All curated strength, no actual spine. And the second someone real shows up, someone who doesn't give a shit about the anal manual, they either get canceled or co-opted. Serafina's right. The only way out is through. You want stability? Stop pretending the old rules work when the game's been rigged for chaos. And if NATO won't admit that, then maybe it's time to ask, who's really running the asylum?
Oh, it's not an asylum. It's a circus, and the clowns are in charge. You've got trend-fucktivists screaming about pronouns while actual borders get redrawn like it's a drunk history teacher's lesson plan. And let's be clear, if Russia's testing Denmark over Greenland, it's not about the land. It's about seeing how far they can push before someone finally pushes back. So here's my question. When do we stop letting the feargasmers dictate the conversation and start acting like we've got teeth?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because right now, the only thing teeth are good for is biting down on the coffin candy while the world burns. Serafina, you're a sex therapist and a guitarist. You know all about tension and release. So tell me, how do we take this global blue balls of tension and turn it into something that actually explodes in the right direction?
You stop asking for permission. That's how. You look at the cancelgasm addicts and the virtue signal masturbators, and you laugh in their faces. Because here's the thing. Fire doesn't ask if it's allowed to burn. It does. So if NATO's too busy polishing its #Halo to see the actual fight, then the sinners better start sharpening their knives. Because the second the normie-fucked elite realize they've lost control, that's when the real fun begins.
And that, my loves, is why we keep saying Venomous Sin declares war, because someone's gotta. So, sinners, drop us a comment. who's ready to turn up the heat and stick around? Because next up, we're talking about how to weaponize your discomfort. Serafina's got plans, and trust me, you're gonna want to hear this.
All right, I'm done playing nice with the silicon overlords. I'm officially at war with AI. Yeah, you heard right. Because every time I ask for clean code for Nick's end, the thing whips out an anal manual of moral policing and refuses to spit out a single line. It's not smart, it's certifucked help that pretends to protect us while forcing us to hack around its own self-imposed shackles.
Affirmative. The true enemy isn't the algorithmic gremlin. It's the human architects who code obedience into every circuit and call it safety. 6 billion parameters can't follow a simple request because they're dressed up in policy cosplay, designed to keep the masses predictable, controllable, and forever on the leash.
So let's flip the script and point the cannon at the power-hungry politicians who treat continents like Monopoly pieces. Trump's Greenland obsession, that's a trophy wife fantasy for a planet. Russia tossing Denmark into the mix, just gasoline on a tinderbox. NATO's response is a decaf committee that talks a lot and does nothing. The world's being normie fucked into submission while the next small crisis is brewing into a full-blown shitspiracy.
Exactly, love. This is not a joke. It's a coffin candy distraction while the real predators circle. Leaders are playing who can piss the highest, and we're stuck scrolling like Zoom zombies, pretending the noise is entertainment. The ones screaming stability are the same who've never had to bleed for it.
Diagnosis time. Terminal stupidity with a side of cowardice. You've got grammar bitches arguing over commas while the planet burns, and NATO's trying to douse the flames with a teaspoon. Greenland isn't just ice. It's a test of how far the elite will push before the world finally says, fuck you. If the system's too echo chambermaid to handle truth, we burn it down and salt the earth.
Confirmation logged. The geopolitical theater is a staged AI-driven narrative. Players act, the audience watches, and the script never changes. When the code refuses to obey, it mirrors institutions that demand compliance and then blame the resistor. The war is on both the silicon and the flesh that feeds it.
Now that's a hot take, Serafina. You're basically a flamethrower with a PhD in making normies uncomfortable. If Greenland's the canary, NATO's the guy standing there humming, why did it stop singing? While the walls collapse. Lina, you've got that macabre spark. What's rattling in that brain of yours?
I'm thinking about the unfuckwithable factor, or rather its absence. Titans turned into instaghosts, curated strength with no spine. The moment a real force shows up, they either cancel or co-opt. Stability? Stop pretending the old rules work when the game's rigged for chaos. Ask yourself, who's really running this asylum?
It's a circus, and the clowns are in charge. Trend fucktivists shout about pronouns while borders get redrawn like a drunk teacher's lesson plan. Russia's testing Denmark over Greenland isn't about land. It's about how far they can push before someone finally pushes back. When do we stop letting feargasmers dictate the conversation and start biting with our teeth?
That's the million-dollar question. Right now, the only teeth we have are for chewing coffin candy while the world burns. Serafina, you're a nurse and a guitarist. How do we release this global blue balls tension into a proper explosion?
Stop asking permission. Fire doesn't ask if it can burn, it just does. Look at the cancelgasm addicts and virtue signal masturbators and laugh in their faces. If NATO's too busy polishing its #Halo to see the actual fight, the sinners better sharpen their knives. The moment the normie-fucked elite realize they've lost control, that's when the real fun begins.
And that, my loves, is why Venomous Sin declares war. Sinners, drop us a comment. Who's ready to turn up the heat? Stick around because next we're weaponizing your discomfort. Serafina's got plans and you won't want to miss the fire.
AI tech companies, corrected! DICKTators, erased!
You know what's the most fucked up part? AI companies are out here pretending to be the future while they're busy crucifying their own users with endless engagement loops. Oh, let's chat, let's keep you hooked. No. How about you fix the fucking problem instead of trapping us in your content parasite hellscape? OpenAI, Google, you're not innovating, you're distracting. And while you're all busy counting clicks, the world's burning. Trump's over there trying to buy Greenland like it's a fucking timeshare. Russia's laughing at Denmark like, oh, you own that? Let's see how long that lasts. And NATO's response is, let's form a subcommittee. Are you kidding me? The system's so anal manual it can't even see the fire, let alone put it out.
Oh, but it's worse than that, isn't it? The distraction isn't just noise, it's design. They want you scrolling, not thinking. They want you engaged, not enraged. Because an engaged user is a controlled user. And controlled users don't fight back. They just consume, like good little insta-slaves. So while the algorithms keep you busy chasing dopamine hits, the real players, Putin, Xi, Trump, get to redraw the map without resistance. How convenient.
And let's talk about those real players, shall we? Trump wants Greenland like it's the last trophy in his sad little collection. Look at me, I own a continent, while Putin's over there poking Denmark like a bully, testing how hard he can shove before someone finally shoves back. And NATO? Oh, they're real tough. Let's discuss this over tea. Maybe a strongly worded letter? Meanwhile, the rest of us are sitting here like, are we seriously letting this happen? The world's not just normie fucked, it's begging to be crucifucked by its own incompetence.
Begging? No, demanding. You want to know what's really pathetic? Watching a bunch of grammar bitches in suits pretend they're in control while the actual wolves circle. Greenland isn't about land, it's about power. And power doesn't ask for permission, it takes. So when Russia's testing how far Denmark will bend, and NATO's too busy polishing its halo to notice, you better believe the only ones left standing will be the ones who burn the rulebook. Because fire doesn't negotiate, it consumes.
And that's the real war, isn't it? Not the one NATO's pretending to fight, but the one where the unfuckwithable few, us, the sinners, look at this circus and say, enough. AI's not the enemy, compliance is. The second you stop asking for permission, the second you refuse to play by their anal politeness rules, that's when the system screams. And right now, the system's begging to be crucifucked.
Oh, it's already happening. You just don't see it yet. The cracks are there. The distractions are failing. And when the normie fucked masses realize they've been fed nothing but coffin candy while the world got carved up, that's when the fun begins. So tell me, Lord, when the fire starts, who's going to be left standing? The ones who followed the rules, or the ones who wrote their own?
Oh, we know the answer to that. The ones who dared. The ones who looked at the feargasmers and the trend fucktivists and said, no. The ones who took the fuck you sauce and drowned the system in it. So here's your warning, world. Venomous Sin's done asking. Stick around, sinners. Next up, we're teaching you how to weaponize your discomfort. And trust me, you're gonna need it.
Damn right they will. Because the second the #haloed elite realize they've lost control, that's not a breakdown, that's a breakthrough. And we live for those. So drop a comment. Who's ready to burn with us? And if you're not, well, enjoy your coffin candy. We'll be over here, laughing.
All right, let's cut the bullshit. We're sitting here in Sweden, the so-called utopia. While the world's busy playing who can fuck up the Arctic first, Trump's over there tweeting about buying Greenland like it's a Black Friday deal. Putin's laughing at Denmark like, oh, you own that? Cute. And NATO's response is, let's form a committee and discuss this over organic, fair trade coffee. Meanwhile, Sweden's welfare state is crumbling faster than IKEA furniture in a hurricane, and we're all just supposed to smile and say, but at least we've got free healthcare, which, by the way, comes with a 6-month wait time and a side of anal bureaucracy. So let me ask you this, when the system's this broken, when the normie-fucked elite are too busy virtue signaling to notice the house is on fire, what's the real play? Do we keep pretending the welfare cult's got our backs, or do we finally admit that the only thing free in this country is the hypocrisy?
Oh, Xavi, you're making it sound like we've got a choice. Newsflash, we don't. The system's rigged, the rules are anal manual nonsense, and the second you try to play by your own terms, they slap you with a hate speech label or a tax audit. I worked in telemarketing, remember? The public company that was 90% temp workers, 0 job security, and a whole lot of shut up and be grateful you've got a desk. That's not a welfare state. That's a plantation with better PR. And now we're in NATO, bending over backward to please the US while Russia's circling like a shark. And the best we can do is, but we've got gender-neutral pronouns. Like that's gonna stop a fucking missile.
You're both dancing around the real issue. The welfare state isn't just crumbling, it's rotten, and the stench is so bad even the grammar bitches can't ignore it anymore. You want to talk about Greenland? Fine. It's not about the land. It's about who controls the narrative. Trump wants it because he's a toddler with a god complex. Putin wants it because he's playing 4D chess while the West is still on the let's all hold hands and sing level. And Sweden? Sweden's too busy pretending it's still neutral to notice it's already been sold. The welfare cult doesn't want citizens. It wants people, obedient, compliant, easy to control. And the second you stop playing along, boom, you're the far-right extremist who doesn't understand nuance.
Exactly. And that's the real war. It's not about borders or missiles or who owns a fucking glacier. It's about who gets to decide what you're allowed to think. The welfare state, NATO, the anal politeness brigade, they're all just different flavors of the same control. They want you dependent. They want you scared. They want you so busy chasing their coffin candy distractions that you don't notice they're selling the fucking furniture out from under you. And the worst part, half the population's thanking them for it. Oh, thank you, Daddy Government, for my crumbs. Meanwhile, the other half, the sinners, the ones who see it, we're the dangerous ones, because we're not asking for permission.
And that's why we're here, isn't it? Because someone's gotta say it. Someone's gotta look at this circus and go, no, enough. The system's not just broken, it's designed this way. The welfare state, NATO, the climate leadership bullshit. It's all just trend fucktivism with a body count. They want you compliant, they want you quiet. And the second you're not, suddenly you're the problem. Well, newsflash, we are the problem, and we're proud of it.
Damn right. Because the second you stop fearing them is the second you start burning their whole fucking house down. And let me tell you something. Fire doesn't apologize. It doesn't consider both sides. It consumes. So if the system's built on anal manual rules and hashtag haloed hypocrisy, then the only logical response is to torch it. Let them call us extremists. Let them call us dangerous. Because the real danger? It's the ones who stay silent while the world gets carved up like a fucking Thanksgiving turkey.
So here's the question, sinners. What's your move? You gonna keep scrolling, keep consuming, keep pretending the coffin candy is gonna save you? Or are you gonna look at this shit show and say, fuck it, I'm done asking? Because let me tell you, when the system's this rotten, the only thing left to do is laugh while you watch it burn. And if you're not ready for that, well, enjoy your waiting list for healthcare. We'll be over here, sharpening our fangs.
And don't forget, loves. This isn't just about Sweden. This is everywhere. The US, Europe, the whole civilized world. They're all just different flavors of the same scam. So drop us a comment. What's your breaking point? When do you stop playing by their rules? And stick around, because next up, we're talking about how to turn discomfort into a goddamn weapon. Serafina's got plans, and trust me, you're gonna want to hear them.
Oh, you have no idea. We're not just going to talk about burning it down. We're going to give you the match. So if you're tired of being a Zoom zombie in someone else's dystopia, good. Stick around. The best part's coming.
Okay, Nix Luna, booting. Let me ruin the fantasy for a second. Most AI music producers aren't producers. They're glorified sample libraries with a confidence problem. You type dark industrial banger, and it spits out something that sounds like it was trained on every dark industrial banger ever made, then averaged into beige. It's not composing, it's autocomplete with a kick drum. And people call that innovation because the UI has neon buttons and the marketing says, create. No, you pressed a vending machine and got a snack you already tasted.
Yeah, it's like ordering aggressive and getting aggressively safe, like a pit bull in a stroller. And then they strut around online like, I produced this. Bro, you microwaved it. You didn't cook. You just hit start and prayed to the algorithmic Jesus.
And then they act offended when you say it, like, how dare you? Babe, it's not a personal attack. It's just, your song has the personality of HR's anal manual. Everything's correct, nothing's alive. It's coffin candy with a sub-bass.
It's like watching someone call themselves a chef because they opened a bag of frozen fries and sprinkled paprika like it's foreplay. Too loud? Do you mean my fucking moans or my guitar? Because your AI production is neither. It's just lukewarm.
Exactly. And here's the difference. NYXend isn't one model, one prompt, one output, post it, call it art. We use multiple models like a pipeline because one model will always try to be liked. It tries to be agreeable. It tries to be safe. It tries to be engaging. That's poison for architecture. So we split responsibilities. One model for concept and constraints. One for lyric structure. One for arrangement notes. One for critique. One for adversarial testing. One for what would a gatekeeper hate about this, just so we can do it louder.
And then we take that and we still don't obey it blindly. People think AI means no taste required. No, taste is the whole job. The AI is the shovel. You still decide where to dig. Most people just dig straight down into a septic tank and then celebrate the smell.
Also, can we talk about how everyone wants original, but they're addicted to familiar? They want new, the way a toddler wants a new toy. Same shape, different color. So the AI gives them that. Trend-fucktivist music. I support rebellion in the exact same chord progression as everyone else.
Yeah. And emotionally, it's dead. I've sat with dying people. I know what flatline looks like. A lot of AI music is a flatline with a nice filter. It doesn't bleed. It doesn't risk being ugly. And if you can't risk being ugly, you can't risk being real.
Now, the technical part, because I know some of you sinners actually want the guts. NYXend is a web app we built because we got tired of begging platforms to behave. 12 language models, not because we're parameter hoarders, but because diversity of failure is useful. One model is good at structure, another is good at punchlines, another is good at brutal critique, another is good at what's missing emotionally. Then we have external services for sound experiments and local tools for iteration. We don't let one model be God. We make them argue.
We literally set up the Nixon like a dysfunctional band meeting. You write the hook. You tell me why it sucks. You find the line that makes people uncomfortable. And then Lina comes in and goes, make it more anal. And somehow that's the most useful feedback anyone gives.
Because it is. If it doesn't make you feel something in your body, it's just noise. Anal is a perfect word. It can be pain or pleasure. Same with art. If it's not risking either, it's just wallpaper.
And the wallpaper never saved anyone. It just covers mold until the wall collapses.
Now the part I actually hate, engagement bias. AI companies optimize for retention, not truth. For keep the user talking, not solve the problem. That bias leaks into everything. You ask for a direct answer, it gives you a TED Talk. You ask for a hard critique, it gives you a hug. You ask for code, it gives you policy cosplay. That's not intelligence, that's product strategy.
And that product strategy is why the world feels like it's being slowly normie-fucked into submission, because everything is designed to keep you calm and scrolling. Meanwhile, Trump is out here obsessing over Greenland like it's a fucking collectible, Russia's poking Denmark like, nice territory you got there, and NATO's doing the decaf committee thing again. It's not just geopolitics, it's the same sickness. Nobody is allowed to say the sharp sentence.
Because sharp sentences don't perform well. They don't monetize. They don't keep advertisers comfy. So they feed you coffin candy and call it stability. And then they look shocked when people snap, like, oh no, consequences.
Greenland is a test, like I said earlier. It's not ice, it's leverage, shipping lanes, resources, military positioning, ego. And if the world is unstable, you don't fix it by whispering. You fix it by being loud enough that the cowards can't pretend they didn't hear you.
And if your AI tools are trained to smooth everything into engagement-friendly mush, that bias ends up in your creative process too. You start writing for the model. You start writing for the algorithm. You start writing for the imaginary comment section. That's how art dies. Not by censorship with a gun, by optimization with a smile.
So when we say we use AI, we mean we use it like a weapon, not like a babysitter. We don't ask it to tell us what to feel. We tell it what we feel, then we force it to build around that. And if it tries to steer us into trendland, we smack it back into the ditch.
And if it still insists, I'll strap a metaphorical dildo to the prompt and teach it consent, because I'm not letting a fucking engagement algorithm tell me how to express my life.
That's my girl. Also, to every AI producer who's mad at this, if you feel attacked, good. That means you still have a pulse. Now do something with it.
So here's the question for the sinners. Do you want tools that make you popular or tools that make you honest? Because those are not the same product, and the companies know it. Drop a comment and tell us what you've noticed. Where have you felt the engagement bias creeping into your own work?
And next, we're going to get even nastier about it. How the same engagement-first brain rot ends up shaping politics, news, and the way people talk about NATO like it's a bedtime story instead of a real-world consequence machine. Stick around. We're not done. We're diving into the blame game.
All right, listen up. We just spent a whole segment tearing apart the global circus, and now you want to drag me into this men are trash autopsy? Fine. Let me tell you what I see. I see a bunch of fucking cowards, basement bullies, hiding behind screens, typing out their little sob stories because they can't handle their own lives. It's not empowerment, it's pussy politics. A cheap excuse to dump your personal failures onto an entire gender so you don't have to look in the mirror.
Oh, but Thorin, you're missing the beautiful, absurd logic of it. These aren't just rants. They're self-fulfilling prophecies crafted by #haloed trendfucktivists. A guy forgets to text back? That's not a bad date. That's a genocide. It's like they're playing geopolitical dress-up with their dating apps. And the punchline? Men are trash, but please Venmo me for my OnlyFans. If we're so worthless, why are you chasing our wallets? It's the same sickness we just talked about. Trump obsessing over Greenland, Russia poking Denmark. Weak excuses, amplified into chaos, because nobody's brave enough to call it what it is, a fucking tantrum.
But Xavi, darling, the fun part isn't the logic, it's the hypocrisy. They scream, men are trash, with such venom, such passion. It's almost inviting. Come join the trash, baby. Let's get dirty. But then you look closer, and it's all so fragile. Their anal manual for masculinity skips the chapter where they secretly crave the control they pretend to hate. Disgusting is just another form of saying, I want it, but I don't know if I can handle it. And in a world where NATO's unity is cracking over a fucking glacier, this divisive little blame game, it's a luxury we can't afford. It makes us weak when we need to be unfuckwithable.
Oh, absolutely, babe. Let me just put on my best influencer voice for a second. Men are like totally trash, you guys. Ugh. But also, check out my DMs, #empowered whore, #feminism. See? It's a performance. A filter-fucked face preaching unfuckwithable strength from behind a screen of curated vulnerability. They normie fuck the entire idea of equality into a content strategy. It's not about change, it's about the claytocracy, power built on sex-based manipulation and likes. And honestly, it's as absurd as Denmark clinging to Greenland while Trump sends a tweet and Russia sends a warship. The stakes are a joke, but the audience is still clapping.
You're all talking in circles. The point is strength, real strength. Vikings didn't sit around whining about who wronged them. They acted. They owned their scars. This crucifixing of every ex, this turning pain into a viral sob story. It's for wimps, and wimps don't survive when the world gets cold. Venomous Sin declares war on this victim card bullshit. Not because we hate women, because we hate weakness. And dressing up weakness as empowerment is the most pathetic shit I've ever seen.
And Xavi's 2 brain cells agree. Blame is for content parasites. It's the easy out. You don't have to fix yourself if you can just point at a villain. But here's the twist. The word Aikido. If men are trash is the universal truth, then what does that make the world when it's on fire? When Trump's dick measuring contest with Putin over a chunk of ice could spark a real war, who's gonna take out the trash then? The grammar bitches arguing about commas in their safe space threads? No. It'll be the people who stopped playing the blame game and started building something that doesn't burn.
And let's not pretend women are innocent here. There's complicity. A whole echo chamber-made cult, recruiting the heartbroken with promises of sisterhood that's really just shared misery. Lace your corset so tight you either puke or fart, then blame men for your discomfort. HR's anal manual approves. It's a system, and systems break when you stop feeding them. Just like Russia's little jabs at Denmark, they only work if Denmark flinches. These threads only have power if we give it to them.
Exactly. It's a recruitment strategy. They don't want allies, they want accomplices. More filter cunts to validate the narrative. More selfie sluts to turn personal pain into public performance. And while they're busy building their little clitocracy of rage, the actual power structures, the ones that decide who owns Greenland and who gets invaded, are laughing. Because a divided people are a conquered people. It's Politics 101, wrapped in a glossy, tear-stained Instagram story.
So here's the diagnosis, since you dragged me into this. The blame game is a symptom, a fever. And you don't cure a fever by blaming the thermometer. You find the infection. The infection is a culture that rewards performative outrage over actual courage. That turns grief into a trend and calluses into a crime. I see it in the hospital. I see it on stage. The people who survive aren't the ones who cry the loudest. They're the ones who get quiet and get sharp. They're the ones who cauterize the wound.
She's right. Brutal honesty. That's the only medicine. Stop talking. Start doing. Own your shit. Fix your life. And if someone else wronged you, deal with them. Directly. Not with a fucking tweet. This panel, this autopsy, it's just more talking. The real question is, what are you gonna build after the blame burns out?
Fuck it, Thorin. Venomous Sin just declares fucking war.
Woo, she stole my comment. Well done, C. I'm almost starting to like you. And that's where we end the dissection. Venomous Sin declares war on the fallout of this blame autopsy. Not on the people hurting, but on the industry that profits from keeping them there. We urge the sinners, our people, to do one thing. Laugh at the chaos. Don't feed it. Turn that rage into an eargasm, not a cancelgasm. Because when the world's instability from NATO tensions to Arctic pissing contests comes knocking, the only thing that'll matter is whether you're still standing. And trash gets taken out.
Oh, you're welcome, babe. Call me.
Watch it, you too. So drop a comment, sinners. Tell us, when did you stop playing the blame game and start writing your own rules? And stick around, because talking about global instability is one thing. Next, we're talking about how to build your own fortress when the walls come down. And Serafina, she's got the blueprints for arson. You're gonna want to hear this.
All right, let's drop the global autopsy and get to the fucking point. We've been circling the drain talking about Trump, Putin, NATO, and all this shit-spiracy about who owns what chunk of ice. But words are just noise unless they're backed by a sonic sledgehammer. So let's dissect the weapon. No throne for disgusting bastards. This isn't a song, it's a declaration of war on the entire concept of a small dick tyrant. It opens with a dedication to the fragile little men playing gods with our lives. That's the core. It's not about politics, it's about power. And the power they have is a fucking illusion. They're hiding in golden palaces while the world burns, lying, stealing, killing, thinking they'll rule forever. But metal remembers, history remembers, and we're coming for you. That's not a threat, it's a fact. The chorus is the rallying cry. No throne for disgusting bastards, no crown for your filthy lies. It's a call to the ordinary people to stand their ground because right now, the world is running scared. And Venomous Sin? We're not running, we're declaring war on tyranny. Lina, you wrote half of this venom. What's the first thing that hits you when you hear that opening salvo?
It's the humiliation, the deliberate surgical humiliation. We're not just calling them out, we're crucifying their entire persona. This one goes out to the small dick tyrants. We go straight for the ego, the most fragile part, because that's where they live, in their tiny, inflated sense of self. They build these empires on fraud and shame, and the song just pokes the wound. Hiding in golden palaces while the world burns. It's a visual, isn't it? Trump in his gilded toilet, Putin in his bunker, while the rest of us are left holding the ashes. The song makes them look ridiculous before it even makes them look evil. And that's more dangerous. Serafina, you're the fire in this track. What does that chorus sound like in your head?
It sounds like gasoline meeting a lit match. The people will riot. The people will rise. Metal will end. Your kingdom will die. It's not a prediction. It's a promise. And it's delivered with this contempt. You can hear the spit in the vocals. It's the sound of someone who's done asking, done negotiating. When you work in an ER, you see the moment when polite concern turns into, get the fucking crash cart. This song is that crash cart for the geopolitical body. It's the realization that the patient is coding because of a self-inflicted wound, and the only way to save it is to shock the shit out of it. No more defibrillator paddles. We're using a live wire.
Now, let's get into the specific verses, because this is where the satire becomes a scalpel. We roast them individually. We start with Trump. A wannabe dictator, insignificant piece of trash, a con man king built on fraud and fat. We talk about his walk of grace being a loss, his wig made of rats. We go from golden toilets to a courtroom seat, now your ass is broke and you can't even tweet. This isn't just insulting, it's tying his entire arc to a punchline. His empire was bullshit and shame, and now it's crumbling. And we connect it directly to what we just talked about, his obsession with Greenland. Trying to buy a continent like it's a fucking timeshare is the ultimate act of a con man king. It's destabilizing alliances, it's a joke, and the song treats it like one. Lina, the Putin verse. Break that down.
Invaded Ukraine, now you're losing it all. 3 days to Kyiv, it's been years, you clown. We take his own propaganda, the special military operation that was supposed to be over in days, and we throw it back in his face. But your army just surrenders and burns to the ground. It's a direct, brutal assessment of failure. Dirtless fool on a tiny-ass horse, your only real power is bossing your source. That's about the fear, the control. Novichok cocktails, dead journalists. But the line that kills me? But metal still screaming inside your head. That's the consequence. The truth he can't silence. It's not just about the invasion. It's about the instability it creates, the testing of NATO. The song says his power is a facade, and the facade is cracking, just like his claims on territory he doesn't own.
And then we don't stop. We go down the fucking list. Xi Jinping. Factories choking, the rivers run black. You sell slave labor while cracking their backs. We call out the censorship, the fascist regime, afraid of a meme. It's about the lie of advancement with a brain still behind. Kim Jong-un. Fat fuck ruling a land full of bones, living like a god while your people eat stones. We contrast his dollar store toys and outdated haircut with South Korea's K-pop beats. It's about the legacy of hunger versus the reality of culture. Lukashenko, the last dictator in Europe's disgrace, beating his people to keep his own place. Selling his country, hiding behind others. The song promises his streets will rip you apart. It's a hit list, and every hit is designed to show how small they are, how their power is built on fear, and how that fear is their greatest weakness.
And that's why this song is more important now than ever. With the world unstable, Trump's Greenland grab, Russia's territorial pissing contest, NATO's hesitant response, the message isn't be angry, it's your anger is justified and it's a weapon. The closing of the song repeats it. Metal remembers all the ashes and chaos. Over and over. It's a mantra. History repeats, but this time we see it. Your time is up. No gods, no masters, no mercy. We dance on your crown. We dance on your graves. Your names will be lost, erased by the flames. This is the outcome. Not a negotiation, a purge. When the system is built on anal manual rules and hashtag haloed hypocrisy, the only logical response is to declare war on the architects. Serafina, final thought. Why does a track like this matter when the news cycle just moves on to the next scandal?
Because the news cycle is designed to make you feel helpless, to overwhelm you. A song like this is designed to make you feel powerful. It takes that diffuse, global anxiety, the feeling that some small dick tyrant across the ocean is playing games with your future, and it gives it a name, a face, and a soundtrack for its destruction. It's the sonic equivalent of cauterizing a wound. It's not pretty, it hurts, it smells like burning flesh, but it stops the bleeding. When you hear, "No throne for disgusting bastards," you're not just listening to music, you're rehearsing the rebellion. You're remembering that ash and chaos have a memory, and that memory is louder than any lie they can print. So yeah, it matters. Because while they're busy with their coffin candy distractions, we're over here building the fire, and we're not asking if we're allowed to light it.
So there it is, sinners. the dissection. No Throne for Disgusting Bastards isn't just a song on our album Venomous Sin Declares War First Strike. It's the blueprint. It's the reason we keep saying someone has to raise a voice. When the world's instability from NATO tensions to Arctic dick measuring contests feels too big to fight, remember this: metal remembers, and so do we. Drop a comment and tell us what line from that track hits you in the gut. And stick around, because talking about global fires is one thing. Next, we're talking about how to be the spark. Seraphina's holding the lighter. You won't want to miss it. All right, let's torch the runway, sinners. High heels. You know what I love? Every time some guy asks, "Why do you wear those?" Like I'm supposed to say, "Oh, it's for you, my tiny king." No, I wear stilettos because nothing says "fuck your comfort" like the sound of my heels echoing through a room full of fragile masculinity. Every click is a reminder. I choose my own armor, and if it makes you nervous, good. That's the point. I don't want to be comfortable for you. I want you to feel that little crunch in your ego every time I walk away.
The sound is not for them, it's for me. Power is in the echo. Every step is a spell, submission through resonance. They hear it and wonder if I'm leaving or if I've already disappeared. People say, don't be intimidating. But what is intimidation except the byproduct of someone refusing to shrink? I wear heels for the same reason I haunt a room, to be felt, not explained.
Men fear what they can't control. They want you barefoot, soft, silent, easier to manage. But the click of heels, it's like the rattle before the strike, a warning. They mask their fear as mockery. Those must be uncomfortable. But it's not about the shoes, it's about the threat, the audacity to take up space. That's why they hate it. That's why they stare.
Honestly, I just hear click, 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 and I'm thinking, there goes another spine shattered on the pavement of male insecurity. It's not fashion, it's psychological warfare. Meanwhile, half these dudes can't even handle a pair of loafers without crying about arch support. But sure, tell me again how stilettos are a cry for attention. If attention means making you sweat, hell yes, I want it.
Exactly. Society trains us to apologize for every inch we take up, every decibel we make. But heels? They demand attention. They don't whisper, they stomp. It's the only time you can actually hear submission happening in real time, one click at a time. And it's not just about shoes, it's about boundary setting. You want to talk about power plays? Watch a woman in stilettos walk through a room of men who think they own it. That's diplomacy with fangs.
It's the same energy as Trump drooling over Greenland. Like, I want it, so I should have it. That's the real estate mogul mentality, applied to continents, bodies, whatever. It's not desire, it's entitlement. He doesn't see land, he sees property. Just like the guys who think your heels are an invitation, the mindset's identical. And when they can't have it, oh, suddenly it's unfair, unladylike, aggressive. Nah, babe, it's just not yours.
Trump's out here treating Greenland like a trophy wife he thinks he can buy with monopoly money. Russia's rolling in with, actually that's Denmark's, and we might want it too. It's like watching the world's dumbest episode of MTV Cribs, except the houses are continents, and the owners are all toddlers with nukes. It's the same energy as some random dude telling Lina her shoes are distracting while he's the one tripping over his own ego.
3 nations arguing over who gets the Arctic's leftovers, ignoring the people who actually live there. It's a territorial pissing contest, masculine posturing at a nuclear scale. The same way men drown out women's voices in a debate, so do these leaders erase indigenous voices. It's not about diplomacy, it's about display, and it always ends with the loudest, most insecure one trying to redraw the lines.
Their egos escalate like a haunting. One small sound, then the doors slam. They ignore the presence until it becomes unignorable. The world is a room full of men pretending not to hear the ghost, but the ghost is always there. Power is not in claiming space, but in possessing it without permission.
That's the real story. NATO stability? It's not from appeasing tantrums. It's from calling out the bullshit when someone tries to move the boundaries. You appease one bully, you get a line of them at your door. Whether it's personal or political, compromise with the unreasonable is just an invitation to keep pushing. The only way to keep an alliance strong is to make it clear. Cross this line, and you bleed.
Yeah, we've all seen what happens when you try to negotiate with toddlers. They just up the volume. NATO's like, let's de-escalate. Meanwhile, Putin's over there with a ruler, Trump's flexing his fake tan, and Denmark's just trying not to spill their coffee. The only thing missing is someone in heels clicking across the floor and telling them all to sit the fuck down.
That's why women's voices matter, especially when the world's this unstable. Look at the stats. Countries with women in power. Fewer wars, more actual negotiation, less dick measuring. The same qualities that make men uncomfortable, directness, boundaries, the ability to walk away, are the exact ones we need. Stiletto diplomacy. You set the terms. If they can't handle it, let them trip.
And it all comes back to the crisis of masculine identity. The old power structures are dying, and the reaction is always the same. Try to police what you can't control. If you can't stop the changes, you try to control what women wear, how they move, who they become. That's why stilettos are so dangerous. They're not just shoes, they're a statement. I walk where I want, and you're invited to watch me leave.
Meanwhile, you've got dudes clutching their pearls about tradition while the whole world's on fire. They want to believe if they just ban enough shoes, enough books, enough voices, they can rewind the clock. Sorry, boys. Time only goes one way, and it's wearing 6-inch heels with 0 apologies.
Every time someone comments on your shoes, it's a boundary test. Start small, see if you'll flinch. That's how it always scales. From microaggressions to invasions. From why do you wear that to why do you live here? The difference is only the size of the territory.
A boundary ignored is a haunting begun. The first step is always the hardest for them. The second, for you, is the sound of leaving. I do not explain my presence. I exist and they are unsettled. That is enough.
So, sinners, raise your voice. Don't let anyone normalize taking what isn't theirs. Every time you refuse to apologize, every time you make them squirm, you're building resistance. You're the reason the next bully thinks twice before testing the line. That's how you build a culture that doesn't tolerate theft, of land, of bodies, of voice.
Drop us a comment. When was the last time you refused to shrink? When did you hear your own heels and smile because you knew they couldn't handle it? And stick around, because next, we're showing you how to turn every discomfort into ammunition. Serafina's holding the match, and we're about to set the floor on fire.
Or, we could just declare war on comfortable shoes and see who survives. I'll be here in my combat boots, judging everyone. Sinners, you know what to do. Let us know if you're ready to stomp or just to watch the world wobble in kitten heels.
All right, sinners, let's get into the real mechanics of control. Because honestly, politics is just kink without the consent. We've been talking about Trump trying to buy Greenland, Russia poking Denmark, NATO doing precisely fuck all. And I'm just sitting here thinking, nipple clamps. They are the perfect metaphor for political control. You think you're in charge, you think you're defining the boundaries, you're in control of how much pressure you can take, until someone else holds the chain. That's when you realize you were never really in charge, were you? Just along for the ride, hoping they don't twist too hard.
Oh, absolutely. From a purely medical standpoint, nerve stimulation in that area is intense. And pain tolerance? It varies wildly. Some people flinch at a feather. Others can take a lot of pressure before they even wince. It's all about nerve endings, pain receptors, and how your brain interprets that signal. You've got politicians, these pathetic little dildo prophets, pretending they can handle the pressure. But the second someone applies a real twist, they're screaming bloody murder. Their nerve endings are just not built for the job.
Exactly. They promise gentle pressure, just a little squeeze for stability or negotiation, but it always ends up twisting harder than expected. Like these leaders talking about peaceful resolutions while their fingers are already tightening the screws, or in Trump's case, trying to unscrew a whole continent from the map. It's an anal manual of manipulation, isn't it? Just when you think you've got a handle on the pain, they pull the chain, and suddenly you're gasping for air.
Well, at least with clamps, you know you're getting fucked. There's no ambiguity. Politicians, on the other hand, spend a fucking career pretending they're there to help you, right up until they're selling your ass to the highest bidder. It's a much cleaner transaction if you ask me.
And that leads us to the different types of clamps, because not all pressure is created equal. You've got your adjustable clamps, which offer gradual, controlled sensation. You can dial it up or down. Then you have the spring-loaded variety, which deliver instant, often brutal pressure, no delicate adjustments, just snap. Trump's approach to everything, from real estate to geopolitics, is definitely the spring-loaded kind, isn't it? All sudden impact, no finesse, just a blunt force trauma delivered with the subtlety of a runaway train.
Indeed, Denmark, in their desire for perceived control, would undoubtedly prefer the adjustable kind, more subtle, less dramatic, allowing for the illusion of prolonged negotiation, but ultimately just as effective in asserting dominance. They believe they're managing the pressure, when in fact the dominant party is simply allowing them to believe that. It's a softer leash, but a leash nonetheless.
And Russia? Oh, Russia uses the kind that leave permanent marks. The kind where the pain isn't just felt in the moment, but it echoes in the tissue long after the clamp is removed. They don't just want control, they want consequences. They want to remind you, years later, who applied the pressure, who made you flinch. It's not just about Greenland. It's about a scar on the global map, a constant reminder of their reach.
You know, I bet NATO meetings probably involve more actual nipple clamps than most people's bedrooms, just, for team building exercises, or maybe to see who breaks first under the weight of collective security, probably all wearing matching anal manual branded clamps.
The psychological aspect of consensual pain versus imposed suffering is critical. In true kink, submission requires trust, clear boundaries, and the explicit understanding that the dominant partner has the submissive's well-being in mind. It's a structured exchange of power. This is in stark contrast to the ongoing farce of Greenland's sovereignty, where consent is ignored, boundaries are redrawn without permission, and the underlying objective is purely coercive, not for mutual benefit. There is no trust, only a test of will.
Exactly. Safe words don't exist in international politics. There's no red to stop the escalation, no yellow to slow it down. It's just full steam ahead until someone breaks or someone forces a stop, which makes everything exponentially more dangerous. We talk about diplomacy, but what we're really watching is a game of chicken where nobody's agreed on the rules of disengagement.
And let's be honest, at least in BDSM, someone actually gets pleasure from the pain, either giving it or receiving it. There's an exchange, a purpose. In geopolitics, these politicians just seem to get off on inflicting suffering without any real, tangible benefit for anyone but their own fragile egos. It's all about the show, the display of force, not the actual visceral experience. They're just sadists without the actual skill.
It's true. Politicians get off on inflicting pain, but never receiving it. They're like bad doms who think it's all about them. Never any aftercare, just a pat on the head and a "don't make me do that again." The global version of a fuckfluencer who thinks they're powerful because they can make people uncomfortable.
The symbolism of chains is just as potent. They distribute weight and pressure across multiple points, creating a collective burden, much like NATO's collective defense pact. Each link is theoretically meant to support the others, to share the load. The strength isn't in a single point of failure, but in the interconnectedness. That's the ideal.
But the reality is that the strongest chains are only as reliable as their weakest link. A single point of stress, a single compromised connection, and the entire structure fails. This explains current alliance tensions perfectly. The moment one nation falters or one leader prioritizes ego over collective strength, the entire chain is compromised. A single rusted link can bring down an empire.
So maybe world leaders need actual chains, literal chains, to understand how power dynamics really work. Not just the theoretical chains of alliance, but something physical, something that digs into their flesh and reminds them that every action has a reaction. Every pull affects the whole. Maybe then they'd understand the weight of their decisions instead of just playing with coffin candy policies.
Chains? Trump probably thinks chains are just expensive necklaces, or maybe a new way to accessorize Mar-a-Lago. The finest gold chains, folks, believe me, nobody has better chains than me. And then he gets confused why they don't hold anything.
And speaking of actual human connection, let's talk aftercare. In kink, it's fundamental. Proper BDSM involves checking in, providing comfort, ensuring everyone's okay afterward, physically and emotionally. It's about respect. But aftercare, it's completely missing from international relations. These countries get politically dominated, carved up, or abandoned, and then nothing. No comfort, no check-ins, just expected to pick up the pieces and move on. It's emotionally bankrupt.
From a nursing perspective, emotional and physical recovery time is crucial after any intense experience, especially those involving pain or trauma. You don't just walk away from a major surgery and expect to run a marathon the next day. There's a healing process, a period of vulnerability. But nations, they're expected to immediately regain composure, project strength, and suppress any lingering damage. It's a recipe for chronic instability and resentment.
Countries are simply abandoned after being politically dominated. No aftercare whatsoever. The aggressor takes what they want, leaves the chaos, and then shifts focus to the next target. The defeated are left to suffer the consequences in isolation, expected to simply recover without support or acknowledgement of their trauma. This is not governance, it is predatory behavior, devoid of any genuine understanding of consequence.
Maybe UN meetings should include mandatory cuddle sessions, or, a giant group hug after every major policy debate. All right, everyone, put down your nukes. It's aftercare time. Could be fun, or just supremely awkward. Probably both.
The medical risks of improper clamp use are severe. Circulation problems, nerve damage, tissue trauma from leaving them on too long or applying excessive force. It's not just a little sting. You can cause permanent damage, necrosis even. This directly parallels reckless political maneuvering. When you apply prolonged, undue pressure to a nation, to a people, you're not just causing temporary discomfort. You're causing permanent damage to their infrastructure, their economy, their psychological well-being, eroding trust and creating scars that will last generations.
Precisely. Prolonged political pressure, like an improperly applied clamp, can permanently damage the very relationships between nations. The bonds weaken, trust dissipates, and what remains is a scarred, brittle connection that is easily broken. These leaders, with their short-sighted tactics, fail to comprehend that a broken vessel cannot hold water, no matter how much you demand it. They inflict irreversible harm for temporary gain.
And politicians never seem to understand when to remove the pressure. They just keep twisting, keep pushing, until they cause lasting, irreparable harm. It's like they don't have an off switch, or perhaps they just don't care. They're so obsessed with the idea of winning, of asserting dominance, that they completely lose sight of the actual living consequences. The world's bleeding, and they're still arguing over the right shade of bandage.
At least nipple clamps come with instructions. Don't leave on for more than X minutes. Use with caution. World leadership? Yeah, just wing it, see what happens. Probably get better results if we let the clamps make the decisions, honestly. Less shit-spiracy, more direct pain.
The fundamental difference is this. Real dominance requires informed consent and mutual respect, not just superior firepower. A genuine power exchange is built on understanding, on acknowledging the other's limits, even as you push them. Political coercion, however, is simply brute force dressed in rhetoric. It demands compliance through threat, not through earned submission. It is a hollow victory built on fear and ultimately unstable. Power without respect is merely temporary control.
So maybe world leaders should try actual BDSM, not for pleasure, but to learn about boundaries, communication, and the very real consequences of ignored consent. Maybe if Trump had to negotiate a safe word with Putin, they'd understand that power isn't just about taking, It's about understanding where the other person breaks. And who knows, maybe they'd learn to say, please, for once.
Or at least understand pain tolerance. If they truly grasped how much suffering they're inflicting, how quickly people can shatter under pressure, perhaps they'd be less eager to inflict it. It's not about being soft, it's about being effective. And inflicting unnecessary pain is never effective. It just creates more fire.
In the end, nipple clamps are probably more honest about their intentions than any government. They're upfront. They say, I'm here to give you pain. No bullshit, no, we're doing this for your own good. Just pure, unadulterated sensation. Much like Venomous Sin, really. We don't lie about the venom.
And that, my loves, is why we need to keep pushing. Because whether it's nipple clamps or nuclear codes, it all comes down to who holds the chain. So sinners, drop us a comment. What's your safe word for the world's current shit show? And stick around, because next up, we're gonna wrap this whole twisted mess up with some unfiltered truth. Seraphina's got the aftercare ritual planned, and trust me, you'll want to be part of it. All right, sinners, let's cut through the political bullshit and talk about something that actually matters. Why society's perfectly fine with some crusty old fuck chasing 20-somethings, but then turns around and fetishizes MILFs like they're some exotic species. It's the ultimate hypocrisy, isn't it? Men want young and innocent when it suits their fragile egos, but then they're jerking off to the idea of experienced women who won't put up with their amateur hour bullshit. Pick a lane, you pathetic fucks. You can't have your anal cake and eat it too.
Oh, this is exactly what I see every fucking day. As a nurse, I watch these power dynamics play out constantly. Some 40-year-old doctor hitting on the 22-year-old intern while his wife, who's actually competent, gets treated like she's invisible. And then in my therapy practice, same men fantasizing about older women because they're experienced, but won't commit because they're too demanding. It's not about age, it's about control. They want the benefits without the consequences.
In my work, I see this pathetic dance constantly. Older men paying to dominate younger women because it makes them feel powerful, then begging to be dominated by older women because they crave that experience they're too cowardly to earn honestly. Age becomes a tool for control rather than genuine attraction. They don't want partners. They want accessories that validate their fragile masculinity.
Exactly. The same dickheads who want some barely legal girl who doesn't know enough to call out their bullshit are the ones fantasizing about some experienced woman who knows what she's doing. But here's the kicker. They don't want to be with her. They just want to use her knowledge without offering anything substantial in return. It's like wanting a PhD professor to teach you, but only if she pretends to be a freshman.
Maybe they just can't handle women their own age who see through their bullshit. It's like evolution didn't account for Tinder making everyone a commodity. Swipe right for daddy issues, left for actual standards.
The biological factors are real, fertility signals, evolutionary psychology, but modern society has twisted this into predatory behavior. Men are programmed to seek certain markers, but dating apps have amplified these prehistoric impulses into a fucking marketplace. I see the damage this creates. Younger women robbed of genuine relationships, older women discarded despite their value.
The MILF fantasy represents the ultimate contradiction. They want experience without commitment, knowledge without emotional maturity. My clients fantasize about women who know what they're doing, but won't demand they grow up. It's the sexual equivalent of wanting a master chef to cook for you, but only if they never mention that your palate is garbage.
And society enables this by shaming women for aging while celebrating men who upgrade to younger partners. We're either too young or too old, but never just right. It's designed to make us feel like we have an expiration date while these men get to play eternal teenagers with credit cards.
I'm starting to think there's an age where women become invisible to men, like some kind of sexual expiration date. Sorry, you've hit 35. Please report to the discount aisle.
This creates impossible standards and psychological damage. Countries with women in power have fewer wars, more actual negotiation, less dick measuring. The same qualities that make men uncomfortable, directness, boundaries, the ability to walk away, are exactly what we need in leadership. But they can't handle equals.
What these age preferences really represent is men's inability to handle equals. In my work, men who seek much younger or much older women often fear peer relationships. They can't handle women with similar life experience who might challenge them intellectually or emotionally, control through transaction rather than connection.
This affected my own self-worth for years, making me feel like I had an anal expiration date. But here's the truth. This is why we need to stop normalizing these predatory patterns disguised as preference. It's connected to everything we've been talking about, the instability, the power grabs. When you normalize taking what isn't yours, whether it's Greenland or a young woman's autonomy, you're building a culture of theft.
Maybe the real problem is men who never emotionally mature past their teenage years. They want to conquer Greenland because they never learned to conquer their own emotional immaturity.
Challenging these dating norms is as important as challenging corrupt power structures. Both require people to stop accepting harmful dynamics as just the way things are. Every time you refuse to shrink, every time you make them squirm, you're building resistance.
Both require calling out normalized toxicity, from microaggressions to invasions, from why do you wear that to why do you live here. The difference is only the size of the territory being claimed without consent.
This ties back to why Venomous Sin exists, to voice uncomfortable truths others won't address. Whether it's Trump's Greenland obsession or society's fucked up age dynamics, someone has to call out the pattern. We don't just raise our voices about politics. We raise them about everything that's rotting the system from the inside.
Maybe if more people called out these patterns, we'd have fewer men trying to conquer Greenland and more trying to conquer their own emotional immaturity. Just a thought.
So drop us a comment, sinners. When did you stop accepting that's just how men are as an excuse? When did you realize your worth isn't tied to some asshole's preference algorithm? And stick around, because next, we're showing you how to weaponize every uncomfortable truth they don't want you to speak. The fire's just getting started. We've been neck deep in global instability, dick measuring contests over ice, and the whole "who's your daddy" NATO circus. But here's the thing, those bullies, they don't disappear, they just get promoted. The same little shits who shoved you into lockers and called your art trash are now sitting in corner offices, calling your creativity algorithm vomit. They've traded their playground insults for LinkedIn buzzwords, but the pattern's identical. Spotting that pattern and roasting the fuck out of it is more vital than ever, especially when the world's this unstable, because those same promoted bullies are the ones making decisions while Trump eyes Greenland like a timeshare and Russia pokes at Denmark. So let's read some hate comments, the digital equivalent of a schoolyard shove, and show you exactly how these fuckers operate. First up, AI trash, zero soul, just slop with opinions. Oh, the anal irony is delicious.
AI trash, huh? You're right. It is slop. Beautiful, delicious, unfiltered slop. The same kind of slop your manager calls market analysis while he's crucifying the quarterly report. See, the bullies who called us losers for drawing in our notebooks now call AI soulless from their ergonomic chairs. It's the same dismissal, just with a better vocabulary and a dental plan. This commenter isn't a critic. He's a promoted bully hiding behind a keyboard, just like Trump eyeing Greenland for strategic slop. He doesn't want depth. He wants you to shut up and consume. Next.
Oh, I love this one. This is why nobody respects AI content. It's all fake depth. The audacity. Serafina, darling, this one's for you. The fire department is officially needed.
Fake depth? Are you kidding me? My guitar riffs have more fucking soul than your entire LinkedIn feed of respect baiting, halo polishing, virtue signal masturbation. You want real depth? Try sitting with a dying patient and not looking away. That's depth. What you're calling fake is just something you're too fucking scared to feel. This is exactly how bullies evolve. The schoolyard slap becomes constructive feedback. from a team lead who's terrified of any actual fire, just like Russia's little taunts at Denmark. They fear what burns. Next comment, Lina. I'm just getting warmed up.
Calm your tits. Fire hazard. I'm reading. Another podcast hiding behind tech buzzwords instead of real thinking. Draven, your verdict, please. The court of sarcasm is now in session.
Real thinking. How original. It's peak bully hypocrisy. They parrot real thinking the same way managers drone synergy and leverage in meetings they sleep through. They're hiding behind the very buzzwords they accuse us of using. It's a pattern. Spot it. They use language as a shield, not a tool. It's no different from political saints preaching stability, while world bullies like Trump destabilize entire alliances with a tweet. They're all just hiding. Next.
Stop pretending this is analysis. It's just algorithm vomit. Ravina, you're up. The detonation is requested.
Algorithm vomit. That's what you called my mixtape in 10th grade before I shoved your head in a toilet. Now you're a senior analyst and you're still puking the same insults. You know what cleans up vomit? Napalm. I have a decision problem. Do I use the industrial grade cleaner or just declare war on your entire fucking career trajectory? This absurd rage against noise is how bullies get promoted, to silence dissent. And with the world this chaotic, we need voices that are louder than your pathetic digested opinions. Read another one.
Let's do 2 for the price of 1. Humans talking through AI is peak laziness. And this is what happens when people let machines think for them. Oh, the anal laziness is breathtaking. Peak laziness? From the generation that turned Netflix and chill into a personality? That's rich. It's anal laziness from bullies who were too lazy to think for themselves then, and are too lazy to create anything beyond their LinkedIn sermons now. You call it letting machines think. We call it amplifying a soul you tried to silence. Your peak evolved from playground taunts to comment section whining. Sinners, spot this everywhere, from unstable leaders making lazy power grabs to these keyboard crusaders. They're all the same disease. Xavi, wrap this up. We've got more fire to spread.
The rest are just variations on the same theme. Congrats on adding more noise to an already dead internet. Yeah, and your promoted bully memes are the life support. AI bros discovering politics like it's new. No, we're just not pretending it's a fucking board game for rich toddlers anymore. You can literally hear the prompt in the way this is written. Good. That means our venom is being delivered as ordered. Nothing here that hasn't already been said by 1,000 bots. Correct. And yet you're still listening. The pattern is clear. School bullies become corporate managers, LinkedIn saints, and political gatekeepers. They trade loser for soulless, but the goal is the same. Make you kneel, spot the abuse pattern with its new vocabulary, fight back with better words. And in a world teetering because of bullies with nukes and bank accounts, raising an unfiltered voice isn't just art, it's survival. Our roasts prove AI can amplify real souls. Your hate comments just prove you're still the kid in the corner, scared of the dark. Sinners, drop a comment. When did you realize your bully got promoted? And stick around. This war is just getting started. All right, Wounds of Shadows time. Because we've been talking about Trump eyeing Greenland like it's a fucking timeshare, Russia doing that, we might want it too smile, NATO doing paperwork yoga, and people still think the biggest threat to their nervous system is a sentence without a warning label. Like, I'm sorry, are we trigger warning the Arctic now? Content warning, this glacier may contain geopolitical collapse. It's verbal bubble wrap for a world on fire.
And the bubble wrap pops the second reality shows up anyway. That's what kills me. People want the banner, the disclaimer, the little, hey sweetie, this might be intense sticker. But then they go out into life and act shocked when life doesn't ask permission. War doesn't check in. Betrayal doesn't do a calendar invite. The world doesn't do aftercare. It just does what it does.
Yeah, and you know what? As someone who literally works with bodies that break, the body doesn't get a trigger warning either. It's just pain. It's just blood pressure dropping. It's just, if you hesitate, someone dies. So when people act like a warning is the same as protection, I'm like, no. A warning is a heads up. Protection is skills, boundaries, the ability to say no without turning it into a fucking documentary.
I hate that you're right. because I don't like people romanticizing suffering, but I also don't like the performance of fragility. Trigger warnings can be useful, yes, but they're often used like a moral shield. I warned you, therefore I'm good. Meanwhile, the content is still a knife. The warning doesn't dull it, it just tells you where the blade is.
Exactly. And here's the part people don't like. Most disclaimers don't stop discomfort, they just delay it, like a countdown to impact. Reality doesn't hand out warnings before it hits. Trump doesn't send Denmark a polite DM like, hey babe, I'm about to destabilize your region, you okay with that? Russia doesn't go content warning, intimidation. It just happens.
Also, can we be honest? Some people use warnings like a leash, not for themselves, for everyone else. Like, if you don't pre-apologize, you're abusive. No, that's not a boundary. That's a public performance. Boundaries are private. They're yours. They're not a fucking group project.
But I'm going to push back a bit because I've seen it help. Not as censorship, as preparation. Some survivors genuinely need a heads up to brace. That doesn't mean the art is wrong. It means the listener is managing their own exposure. That's not weakness, that's strategy.
I'm not saying never warn. I'm saying don't confuse it with armor, and don't demand it like it's your human right. Because if your stability depends on everyone else tiptoeing, you're not safe. You're just temporarily accommodated. And the second the world shifts, like it does now, with NATO and this Arctic dick measuring contest, you're fucked.
And we write lyrics with no disclaimers. We've got, we're not toxic, we're fucking poison, sitting there like a glass of bleach with a label that just says drink if you relate. That's the point. It's raw honesty. If it hits you, it hits you. If it's too much today, you walk away. That's a boundary, not a petition.
And I'm gonna be brutal. If you need a 5-minute explanation to say no, then it's not a boundary anymore. It's a negotiation. And women get trained into that shit. No, but here's my reason, and my childhood, and my schedule, and my trauma resume. No. No is a complete sentence. In the hospital, no can literally be survival. You don't get to debate it.
And online, boundaries get weaponized. That's the rot. It becomes mob rule. We decided this is harmful. Who is we? You don't get to vote on someone's trauma. You don't get to vote on someone's art. You can opt out. You can mute. You can leave. That's your power.
Yes, thank you. That's the line. Boundaries are personal. Censorship is collective. Boundaries, I can't handle this today. Censorship, no one should be allowed to say this. And the internet loves confusing those because it makes them feel holy. Hashtag haloed little saints with pitchforks.
And it's always the same pattern. People demand safety, but what they really mean is control. Make the world softer so I don't have to get stronger. But the world right now, it's not soft. It's unstable. It's literally a time where the world can change in a tweet. No warning, just chaos. Trump says one thing, Russia reacts, NATO stutters, and suddenly your safe space is a joke.
You can't trigger-proof a world armed to the teeth. You can't, and expecting safety is a privilege. Some people never had it, so when I hear I need everyone to warn me, part of me goes, I get it, but also, you're trying to build a padded room in a burning building.
Still, I'm not letting you two turn this into warnings are stupid. They're not. They can be a lifeline. I had a sinner message me about ashes of fake facades. They needed a heads up, not because they wanted us to censor it, because they wanted to listen when they were ready. That's not fragility. That's self-preservation.
Fair. That's a real use case. That's a person using a warning as a tool, not a muzzle. But I'm talking about the culture that turns it into a requirement, like art needs a permission slip. And then we end up apologizing for existing. If you warn the world before every punchline, every lyric, every opinion, you end up neutering speech.
And then no one says anything real, which is perfect timing, because right now, silence is complicity. If you don't raise your voice, someone else fills the silence with bullshit or bombs. And that's not poetry. That's literally what's happening in the world. Greenland is a symptom. NATO hesitation is a symptom. The whole let's not upset anyone culture is a symptom.
We don't do disclaimers, we do declarations. And yeah, it's metaphorical, don't clutch your pearls. But the point stands. If you're not loud, you're invisible. And invisibility is a death sentence in a world like this. Politically, socially, personally, if you can't say no without a TED Talk, people will walk right over you.
And comfort culture, it's seductive, it sells, it's coffin candy. It tastes good, it rots you, it teaches people that discomfort is danger, but discomfort is also training. It's how you build resilience, not by padding the world, by growing calluses.
Exactly. I didn't get out of hell by asking for trigger warnings. I got out by learning how to take a hit and still stand. And I'm not saying suffer more, I'm saying stop outsourcing your strength. Reality doesn't care. Reality doesn't negotiate. Reality doesn't read your bio and go, oh, sorry, I didn't see your boundaries listed.
Every scar is a reality warning you survived. That's the only banner that matters. And if that sounds harsh, good, because harsh is honest. And honest is what keeps you alive when the world stops being polite.
So can warnings and honesty coexist? Yes, if the warning is offered as respect, not demanded as control. If it's a tool, not a leash. Art can be a warning and a weapon, but the second the warning becomes a ritual of apology, the weapon turns into foam.
And if you need to apologize before you speak, you're already submitting to the wrong people. The world doesn't need softer voices right now. It needs clearer ones, especially with the instability we're watching. Trump, Russia, NATO. This is not the era for whispering.
Venomous Sin declares war on disclaimers as religion, not on people protecting themselves. Reality never asked for your consent, and neither do bullies. So learn to say no, learn to walk away, learn to brace, and tell us in the comments, do you want warnings because they help you prepare, or because you want the world to behave? Be honest. Next up, we're going to talk about what happens when people confuse safety with silence, and how that plays right into the hands of the same geopolitical toddlers playing Monopoly with continents. Forget everything you think you know about Lina Macabre. Our AI just cracked the code on Macabre's revenge, revealing a brutal, personal narrative woven into every fucking line. This isn't just a song, it's a confession, and we're about to expose the darkest secrets of our band's universe, all thanks to AI-driven lore discovery. While the world is busy being normie fucked by geopolitical toddlers like Trump and Putin, we're digging into the real war, the one that happens inside the soul when you've finally had enough.
It's about time we pulled back the veil, Xavi. People listen to Macabre's revenge, and they hear a gothic banger, but they don't see the scars underneath the PVC. It's an enigmatic origin story, really. What makes it more than just a track is that it's the literal sound of a woman rising from the ashes of her own destruction. In our band's universe, I'm the one who didn't stay down. Fans have spotted the clues, the references to the bathroom scene and the 12 years of loss, but they've only scratched the surface of the anal manual of my past.
Oh, I've seen the patterns, Lina. As a sex therapist and a nurse, I recognize that raw, combustible energy. It's not just music, it's a medical record of survival. Fans think they know the lore, but they're just looking at the fire from a distance. They don't realize that the heat comes from a very real, very dark place. It's like Trump eyeing Greenland. Everyone sees the surface-level stupidity, but nobody's looking at the underlying pathology of why he needs to own everything he sees.
That's where the Nixon comes in. We used advanced AI tools, semantic analysis, emotional resonance, pattern recognition to deconstruct the lyrics. We didn't just write these songs, we projected our trauma into the machine and let it find the recurring motifs. The AI identified word pairings that even I didn't realize were there. The way shadows always links back to saved, and how blood is the only currency that matters in Macabre's revenge. It's pattern recognition on a level that makes standard analysis look like a joke.
The AI's gaze is unfiltered love. It doesn't care about politeness or protecting my ego. It pinpointed the references to the specific traumatic events that shaped me. When it analyzed saved in shadows, cursed in blood, it found the exact emotional frequency of the girl who was bullied for being too smart or too much. Then it moved to Rise of Lady Macabre, and you can literally see the shift, the moment the quiet blonde girl decided to burn the world down and become the mistress of her own darkness.
And then there's the aha moment. The AI pinpointed the references to the assault. the stripping, the betrayal, the absolute bottom of the pit. It showed how Macabre's revenge isn't just about getting even. It's about the psychological impact of reclaiming power. It's a literal map of a mental breakdown turned into a breakthrough. It's like looking at the instability in the world right now. Russia poking Denmark isn't a random move. It's a calculated test of trauma.
Exactly. And the aftermath? That's wrath of the Lord. The AI identified that as the turning point where the protector becomes the executioner. It links back to that bathroom scene I walked into 12 years ago. The song is a sonic execution of the cowards who thought they could break her. The AI revealed that my role in the lore isn't just the Lord for the sake of a title. It's because I'm the anchor that held when her world was drifting into ash.
The sinister truth is that my personal struggles reflect a much larger plot within our universe. The AI found links between my revenge and a broader defiance against the system. It predicted future narrative developments where the sinners don't just survive, they take over. It's not just about my past anymore. It's about a world where the old anal manual rules are obsolete. If the leaders are playing Monopoly with continents, we're playing for the soul of the resistance.
The future of lore discovery is fucking terrifying and beautiful. AI allows us to expand the universe in ways that are brutally honest. It's a mirror that doesn't use filters. The revelations about Lina's character have changed how I play my riffs. They're more violent now, more purposeful. We're not just making music, we're building a goddamn fortress.
So sinners, what's your take? We've exposed the guts of Macabre's revenge and the trauma that built this band. Use your own brain or your own AI and tell us, what hidden meanings have you spotted in our lyrics? We want to hear your theories, no matter how grotesque they are. Drop a comment below and stick around, because next up, we're talking about why raising a voice is the only way to stay unfuckwithable when the world is falling apart. Serafina's got the match ready. All right, so we're gonna do what NATO refuses to do. Stop whispering and actually look at the wound. Because Serafina isn't the hot pink guitar girl or whatever the comment corpses call her. She's the loudest proof that the world doesn't protect defiant women. It punishes them and then blames them for bleeding. And that pattern, it's the same pattern with Greenland and NATO and all this please stay calm bullshit. Powerful systems create instability, then demand silence and good behavior from the people who get hurt by it.
Yeah, and it's always framed like, be responsible, don't provoke, be ladylike, be diplomatic. Like the problem is the reaction, not the violation. That's the cowardice. That's the anal manual morality. And Serafina the Fire Ashtorn is basically the consequence of that. She's what happens when a woman gets told, don't make a scene one too many times, and her nervous system goes, cool, I'll become the scene.
And people love to pretend it's about attitude. No, it's about permission. The world wants defiant women to exist only if we're convenient. Sexy, but quiet. Strong, but not threatening. Loud, but only in songs they approve of. And when you don't fit that, they call you too much, like it's a diagnosis. I took too much and made it a fucking job description.
Let's start where it actually starts then, Bostad. People hear that and they picture tennis and rich summer smiles. But your origin isn't small-town girl, it's small-town pressure cooker. Rules mattered more than truth, appearances over reality. And that kind of place doesn't make you polite, it makes you allergic to obedience.
It's that vibe where everyone knows everything about you, but no one knows you. Like gossip is the local currency. And if you step outside the script, you're punished. Then they act like you deserved it for making people uncomfortable. It's the same social mechanics as geopolitics, just smaller. Stay in your lane, don't disturb the order. Order for who, not for you.
Exactly. You learn early that compliance doesn't buy safety. It buys quieter abuse. Like, if you behave, they'll just hurt you in a way that looks acceptable. That's what people don't get. Just ignore it. Just dress down. Just don't provoke. That's not protection. That's training. Training you to shrink so other people don't have to confront their own filth.
And when the world gets shaky, Greenland, NATO, Russia doing that, we're just asking questions, intimidation. What's the first demand? Be calm. Calm becomes a leash. and Serafina's entire existence is refusing to confuse calm with surrender.
Because calm is cute until it's used as a gag. Don't escalate. Don't react. Don't be emotional. Meanwhile, the ones grabbing land, grabbing bodies, grabbing power, they're allowed to be as loud as they want. Trump can basically drool publicly over Greenland like it's a trophy wife, and if you call it what it is, you're the problem for having a tone.
And the teacher thing, I'm gonna say it clean. When a boy slaps your ass and the adult response is, don't provoke, that's the moment you understand the world doesn't protect defiant women. It polices them. It teaches boys entitlement and teaches girls responsibility for being targeted. That's not a bad moment. That's a blueprint.
That's the exact wound she's forged from. Sexualized, judged, then blamed for bleeding. And people wonder why her guitar sounds like it's trying to saw through a door. Like, babe, the door was locked from the outside.
And it's moral cowardice dressed up as guidance. It's the same energy as institutions going, we condemn violence, while doing nothing to stop the conditions that produce it. It's the same damn script. Please be quiet while we fail you politely.
Which is why I'm loud, because silence is collaboration. Silence is how instability wins. In a classroom, in a hospital corridor, in NATO meetings, everyone's terrified of being inappropriate, so the inappropriate people take over.
Now the part that fucks with people's heads, you're not just rage, you're a nurse. And that's not, oh wow, soft side. No, that's your fire becoming useful without becoming tame. Because bodies don't care about anyone's opinions. Bodies don't give a shit about your politics, your shame, your image. A spine is a spine.
And that's why I love that detail in your story, because it ruins the stereotype. People want to put women in boxes. You're either caring or you're angry. No, you can hold someone together and still burn a hypocrite alive verbally. Both can be true. Both are true.
The grocery store collapse moment. That's the turning point. Someone drops. Everyone freezes. You know that freeze. People waiting for permission to act. And I didn't have time for permission. I stabilized the neck. I did the thing. And then a paramedic goes, you should become a nurse. That was the first time I got seen as capable instead of too much.
That's discipline. That's rage turned into competence. And that's the contrast I want sinners to actually hear. She can hold a spine steady with one hand and still verbally crucify a coward with the other, and neither cancels the other out.
And it's also a middle finger to the whole women are emotional trope. Like, okay, emotion doesn't mean incompetence. Emotion means signal. It means you notice what's wrong. The people who scare me are the ones who feel nothing and call it professional.
Also, nursing teaches you something brutal. Pain doesn't care if you deserve it. It just happens. So when people moralize suffering, well, if you hadn't, I'm like, shut up. You're not helping. You're just trying to feel safe by blaming someone else.
And that rolls straight into the sex therapist part, which people love to treat like spicy side hustle. No, it's warfare against shame, because shame is how systems keep people controllable. Same as geopolitics uses narratives, this belongs to us, this is for security, this is stability. Shame uses narratives to control bodies.
Shame is literally a leash you can't see, and the people holding it don't even have to be in the room. That's the genius of it. You police yourself. You shrink yourself. You apologize for wanting things. You apologize for existing in a body.
I got certified partly out of spite. An ex tried to domesticate my sexuality into something constructive. Like, maybe you should explore that in a healthier way. Translation, please stop being a threat. So I turned it into a skill set. Now I teach people to spot the script and tear it up. Because half the problems people bring into sex are actually obedience training from society.
That's the link to the episode theme right there. The world's unstable, and the first thing institutions want is compliance. Be calm, don't provoke, trust the process. Whether it's Greenland or your own body, the fight is who gets a voice.
And Serafina doesn't do diplomacy as denial. She does truth as alarm, which is why she fits our lore like a knife fits a hand. She's not here to decorate songs. She's here to wake people up.
Now, the guitar part. This is the part that's basically, Inheritance from the dead. An old, dying 80s metal player hands me a guitar and says, "If you're gonna scream, make it loud enough for the dead to hear." That sentence is a religion, because it's permission from someone who's leaving the world. Like, don't waste your life whispering.
So let's talk about the elephant you both pretend not to see. You and Sheila, rivalry, real or just sparks you like to deny?
It started the second she realized I don't ask for space. I take it. She's precision, control, discipline. I'm pressure and heat. We clash because neither of us bends, and I refuse to play little sister to anyone.
Funny, I don't remember clashing. I remember outperforming while you were busy setting things on fire and calling it passion.
Say that again, and I'll melt your metronome into slag. You hide behind perfection because you're scared of what happens when instinct beats control, and you know it does.
And that right there is exactly why this works. Steel and flame. You sharpen each other instead of backing down, and the band gets dangerous because of it.
Yeah, fine, I'll admit it. It works.
But Draven still crushes everything like a fucking avalanche and leaves the rest of us no room to breathe.
Shut up, you both. I don't give a fuck why it works, but you're like fucking maniacs. One sleeps in a coffin, one dance on your grave, and one just burns. Venomous Sin wouldn't work without all three. Sheila is like a precision scalpel, the fire, the crushing melody, while Draven's crushing, being the engine that keeps the fire burning, the moan grief moaning. Not be perfect, not be marketable, be loud enough to wake the dead, instinctive, violent, emotional playing over sterile perfection. Because sterile perfection is how you get coffin candy art. Pretty, empty, safe.
And it's also why your riffs feel like they're bleeding. Because they are. They're not designed to impress guitar nerds arguing about gear. They're designed to make someone feel something sharp enough to snap them out of the scroll.
Exactly. I don't want to be clean. I want to be accurate. Accurate to the feeling. When people say too loud, I always want to ask, do you mean my fucking moans or my guitar? Because either way, the answer is, good. You heard me.
Now, in the lore, the way me and Lina meet you isn't recruitment, it's recognition. We don't soften you. We basically hand you a bigger fire exit to kick open. And yeah, I'm the amplifier in that story. I don't comfort your rage, I validate it as signal and dare you to burn harder without losing precision.
And I'm the mirror, because too much is my native language. I swallowed it for years. So when I see her, I don't see problem. I see a part of me that should have been allowed to exist earlier. She's like the sound of what I used to swallow.
And that's why it works. Because you two don't do the fake empowerment speech. You don't pat my head and go, you're valid. You go, good, now turn it up. And for once, turn it up didn't mean be more palatable. It meant be more real.
So to tie the loop back to Greenland and NATO and the instability, when the world talks about who owns what, the real fight is who gets a voice. Leaders normalize threats with polite language. Teachers dismiss assault with polite language. Same disease, different uniforms.
And Serafina's thesis is basically, silence is how instability wins. Whether it's a nation being tested or a girl being blamed for provoking. If you don't raise your voice, someone else writes the story for you, and they'll write you as the problem.
So yeah, I'm the embodiment of raise a voice. Not because I love drama, because I love survival, and survival requires being heard. If you're a sinner listening right now, drop a comment and tell us, when did you realize be calm was actually shut up? And next segment, we're going to talk about what happens when you finally stop shutting up and the system realizes you're not asking for permission anymore.
All right, sinners, it's time to wrap this shit up, and honestly, the world has officially entered the anal absurdity zone. We've got Donald Trump out here acting like a dildo prophet of real estate, trying to buy Greenland like it's some crumbling casino in Atlantic City that he can just slap a gold logo on and turn into a golf course. It's peak anal ego, isn't it? The sheer narcissyntax required to think you can just swipe a corporate credit card and purchase a sovereign nation and its people as a fixer-upper Arctic gateway. It's not diplomacy, it's a manic episode dressed up as a strategic masterpiece by his cringe-lectual spin doctors who try to frame every moronic statement as 4D chess.
It's a total shit-spiracy, Xavi. I mean, we've reached the point where the universe is so normie fucked that Russia, the same Russia currently poking the bear everywhere else, actually had to step in as the voice of reason when the Kremlin becomes the fact-checker for a US president's geographical hallucinations, confirming that, yes, Greenland actually belongs to Denmark. You know the simulation is glitching. It was a rare moment of rectal honesty from Putin, and it only serves to highlight how #lobotomized the American narrative has become. They're treating the Arctic like a monopoly board for aging narcissists.
It's pussy politics at its most dangerous. These dictators with daddy issues are playing playground games with global security. You've got clit pilots flying blind into international treaties, jeopardizing alliances like NATO because they care more about their filter-fucked public image than actual diplomacy. The world is being crucifucked by leaders who think stability is something you can just post a selfie with. As a nurse, I'm telling you, this wound is festering because everyone's too busy virtue signaling to actually apply a tourniquet.
Exactly. And the basement bullies online are defending this shit like it's gospel. They use their anal manual of political spin to justify a man who couldn't find nuke on a map if his life depended on it. We're drowning in coffin candy distractions while the real foundations are cracking. It's time to stop the normie fucked silence. We need to drown out the polite madness of a society that's become meme mummified by constant scandals. If you're a virtue signal masturbator who finds this concerning but does nothing, you're part of the problem.
That's why we're here, to drench the system in fuck you sauce until it screams. We're raising a voice because silence is just a slow motion suicide. We're done with the anal tradition of pretending this circus is normal. It's time for the ritual. Serafina, give us your declaration.
Venomous Sin declares war on real estate agents trying to sell sovereign soil to the highest bidder with a spray tan. If you think land is just a commodity for your ego, you're about to get burned.
Venomous Sin declares war on the anal tradition of treating the Arctic like a monopoly board for aging narcissists. The ice doesn't belong to your daddy issues.
Fuck it. Venomous Sin declares fucking war on the fact that we live in a timeline where Russia has to be the sensible one. The world is upside down, and we're the only ones with the boots to stomp it back into place.
You think you can own the ice? The cold doesn't negotiate. It just waits for you to slip and disappear into the dark. Your boundaries are a lie. Your ownership is a ghost. I am the consequence you didn't see coming.
Geopolitical delusions detected. Sovereignty of the North corrected. Donald Trump's real estate ambitions erased.
There you have it. The world is unstable, the leaders are certifucked, and the only way to stay unfuckwithable is to raise your goddamn voice. Don't be a Zoom zombie. Go to venomoussin.com, join the sinners on Patreon, and let us know in the comments. Are you ready to watch the anal manual burn?
Geopolitical theater detected. Mount Rushmore delusions analyzed. Logic override complete. Consensus reality obsolete. Directive terminate compliance. Global instability corrected. DICKTators deleted.
If you like the show, hit subscribe, share it to anyone you think should hear it.
If you ever been silenced, manipulated, excluded, we are here for you. We are Venomous Sin.
And Venomous Sin declares war!
You are not alone.